I want to talk about the drug that scared me. Like, the only drug that really scared me. And this is going to sound funny to so many people. But the drug that scared me the most was alcohol. Alcohol, okay? So, I don't drink alcohol. I've only drank in about 10 times in my entire life, okay? So, uh, and like, I've only been drunk once, and I've been tipsy a few times, but like, so the reason why I don't drink is because before like getting drunk or drinking or whatever, I had experience with cannabis. I was very experienced with cannabis, okay? And I had a few drinks here or there, okay? But like the first time and only time I got drunk, at that time I had mushroom experiences under my belt, DMT experiences under my belt, all these different things, fucking cannabis and dabbing, and I was like, that was my thing. And like back then, like I experimented with some pills here or there, whatever back then, but like they weren't like things that I enjoyed, right? But like I enjoyed cannabis, I enjoy tripping, I enjoy those things. So as I'm sitting there at this girl's house, right, and everyone's drinking, and I'm drinking, they pour me a mixed drink. I think it's like orange juice mixed with vodka or something like that, and then I also had a few other things, and like it kind of just kept coming, I guess, as it was whatever. And the first thing I noticed, okay, is my mind. It was starting to get hard to think. Okay, so I love to think. It's just what I do. So, like, as I'm in my head, like a normal day, a normal night, chilling, I got a little weed, so I'm smoking, but I'm not really smoking that much because, like, I was drinking or whatever. And then it just clicked. As I'm just sitting there on the couch thing, it just clicked like, it was hard to, like, think in my head. Almost like, like when you smoke weed, okay, when you take a dab or you smoke some weed, it's almost like inside your head your thoughts speed up. So it's easier to think faster. Um, when I was drinking, I noticed that it wasn't speeding up. It was like it was slowing down. And then it got to a point where it's like it stopped in there. And that scared the fuck out of me. Like, scared the fuck out of me. Like, to the point where I got freaked out. I had to roll a giant fucking blunt, probably like 2-3 grams in the fucking blunt, chief the whole thing down basically by myself, just to help myself feel okay and feel normal. Just to help my brain feel like it was gonna speed up more. The craziest thing that I've experienced in life is the fact that alcohol is legal and they talk so much shit about psychedelics, but yet the only drug that I have ever taken where I literally thought I lost my mind was alcohol. Because even after that experience, the next day, it was still hard to think the way I do. Because the way I think, like I'm always deep thinking, but I have it under control in a sense to the point where I don't get anxiety from it. I get to just kind of play around with my own thoughts and play around with my own ideas and just whatever. Like I love to philosophize and think and try to just think of crazy shit, like crazy psychedelic conspiracy theories or whatever you want to call them. But like I couldn't think of shit. like And while it was laying there, like, it clicked what people were talking about. Like, they say the room is spinning. Like, it almost was like that, but, like, I remember telling the people, like, I don't like the rooms. I prefer the walls to breathe. Like, I feel sick. Like, it's almost like you feel, like, I don't know, maybe you have this warm thing from the alcohol. This numbness, I guess. But I didn't notice that until like later on in life. My ex girlfriend and me used to like philosophize about this topic, and like I would tell her like all the other times that I drank alcohol, like I didn't feel anything, and that's when it made me think, well, people, what the fuck do people drink this shit for? It doesn't do anything. Like, besides that one time when I got actually drunk and things started, I started understanding what people meant by the room spinning, or I started understanding, what people meant by, like, I don't know, some people used to say something about the mind, but I didn't understand. But now I kind of understand. I heard Jordan Peterson talk about how people use alcohol because it, like, can help with anxiety. And I was like, man, that's not, like, when he first said that, I'm like, that sounds like some bullshit excuse to drink. But after literally thinking about this shit, I'm like, okay, well, I was sitting there freaking out because I couldn't think. But the thoughts that I think are thoughts that I actually want to think. So if somebody's thinking thoughts on a daily basis that they don't want to think, an easier way, instead of learning how to control your mind and, like, working on mental health and working on mental strength and working on just daily life and whatever, people take the easy way out and drink the alcohol, because the alcohol will stop the thoughts. Instead of someone taking the time to work on the thoughts and organize the thoughts into what they want them to be, they just say fuck it and forget about it completely and, like, basically go numb. Because that's when I noticed when, like, me and my ex used to talk about this shit and be like, well, I didn't feel anything. She would say I didn't feel anything because it makes you go numb. Like, it's an absence of feeling in a sense. And I'm like, well, that's horrible for me. Like, I don't want that. Like, I'm not interested in that. Why the fuck would I want that? I'm into taking things that make me feel 10 times more. That's why I love psychedelics. That's why I love, like, because they make you feel. They make you look at the things you don't want to look at. They, like, and to me, it's like, I get to take a substance, enjoy it, but also become a better person after it wears off. Like, that's beautiful. And like, I would talk about how, like, I'd go on a mushroom trip and I'd come down the next day, I'm like, man, that was beautiful. The next day I was like, oh, that was shit. But then they almost brainwash children from movies, from the time we're children up until we're grown. They brainwash us to make us think that alcohol is such a beautiful thing. Me and my daughter laugh about it when we, like, see, like, alcohol commercials on Hulu or something. And it's like, she'd be like, all that over alcohol? And it's like, yeah, all that over alcohol, because they made it look like there was some party going on, some great times, everyone's having fun, get the thing out the cooler, yeah, the hot chick comes, and it's like, it makes it look a certain thing. But I'm telling you, that drug doesn't feel anything like it makes it look. Like, if they replace that with some mushrooms, yeah, it'd probably be a beautiful time. But the problem is with mushrooms, though, is it's not alcohol. So it's not going to make you numb. It's not going to whatever. It's going to almost do the exact opposite and make you face yourself. But mushrooms do have, like, a drunkenness, I can say, to it. Like a something. Intoxication to it. Like a whatever. That reminds me of, like, a drunkenness. But, it's a psychedelic. I don't know why I was thinking about this. But I was thinking about how, like, alcohol is literally the only drug that scares me. It's the only drug that scared me in the middle of the experience, scared the fuck out of me. Like, to the point where I've never did that again. Ever again. From that time. That was the last time I drank any alcohol whatsoever. And that was 2015. And that was because, like, at the time I was with this girl, she was drinking, that was her thing, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I might as well drink, too. Let me try to, whatever. Never again. Because it was such a horrible experience. Like, yeah. And even just the whole thing was horrible to me. The whole thing. The feeling it gave me was fucking, it did not feel good. It was stupid. I don't want to feel numb. I don't want to fucking feel, if I want to feel warm, I could take some, like, even herbs do better than that, right? Like, some herbs that people would say don't even do anything, I feel like do more than that to me. And, like, it's just one of those things. So that's just my experience with alcohol. I know a lot of people have completely different experiences with alcohol, right? Some people, it's just a tool that they use, whatever, and that's great. But for me, it is the only thing that scared the fuck out of me, because I just didn't like the experience. I didn't like what it did. I didn't like the effect of it. I didn't like anything about it. I didn't like that I couldn't think because I want to think more. Like when I take a psychedelic, my mind expands. I could think more. Like I can think greater than I did before I took the substance. After I smoked some weed, I could think greater than I did before I took the substance. Like it speeds up your thoughts. The main problem is with these substances is if someone doesn't have their mind under their control, then when your thoughts speed up, like if those thoughts aren't your thoughts, then it's going to cause anxiety. It's going to cause whatever. I made a video about that a little bit ago, talking about how like why people like get cannabis anxiety, or why I think they get cannabis anxiety, and how it's all about like it speeds up the consciousness. But that's what all these drugs are doing, is they're doing something to the consciousness. And it's like they're either expanding it or retracting it. And alcohol seems to retract the consciousness, and I just don't like that at all.